to your Tuesday morning. We're going to get into our discussions with a focus on what has been happening recently as far as the retrenchment saga is concerned, looking at the psychological side of things and what people can do in the face of job loss, retrenchment, etc. This morning to talk about it, we have Brenda Roach. She is a registered counseling psychologist. Good morning.
Good morning.
Always a pleasure to have you here, but to talk about such a serious issue which many people would have been facing recently. A number of people sent home as government continued its retrenchment process.
Yes.
There has been talk about help for some of these people. Some haven't been receiving the help. Where do we need to start when we're dealing with such a serious issue such as job loss?
Well, I think for such a serious issue, there are a number of factors that are not taken into consideration. For example, the emotional toll that it takes on an individual, because really and truly, a lot of people are, they recognize themselves as a part of their career. They recognize themselves as part of the positions that they used to hold. So, for instance, when you meet somebody for the first time and you introduce yourself, of course, you're going to say your name. But then usually the next couple of questions after that is, what do you do?
Exactly.
Right. So therefore, somebody losing their job, no matter the fancy terms that we tend to use, so we use restructuring, downsizing, all those lovely terms, but it hurts when somebody loses their job, having to pack up and leave an organization that you've worked for maybe 20 years.
It's a different thing if you do it voluntarily.
Exactly.
But if it is forced upon you, a whole different scenario. It can throw your life in some cases into a tailspin,
Yes.
especially when you do not know what your next move is.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And so being able to acknowledge that hurt, that pain that you're feeling is one of the best ways to get through such an emotional experience, right? Right, so as I would have mentioned, the many terms that we tend to use, downsizing, reorganization, consolidation, but the truth of the matter is somebody has lost their job. They're not sure where the next paycheck is coming from. Some people may be good in terms of the fact that they may have financial savings, but then there are others who don't. So what happens to them, right?
So what is the first thing that, as a psychologist, you would like to do for those people who are caught in that situation, to that the worst side of the coin, or that picture where there are no savings and things are not looking the best financially, because that would be a major concern for you making that next step.
Right. So first of all, is to work through the emotions that you're experiencing, because I find even though you may not have the financial support that you would need, you need to first look at who you are as an individual. Many times, because we are in jobs and we get up every morning, you set your alarm and you get ready for work, there is the need to understand who you are as a person. So the slide is up and we're talking about, people define themselves by their careers, they define themselves by the positions they once held, which is what we were just discussing. And but along with that, when you hear that you are one of the people who are going home, one of the persons who are going home, you tend to feel the betrayal on the part of the organization. Look, I gave all of my life to this place. How can this be happening to me? Right? So there's a sense of betrayal. There's a sense of rejection, feeling discarded, or even embarrassed. Those are some of the things that can happen. That's how you feel.
Some people may be in denial too.
Yes.
And they're saying, well, it doesn't bother me. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to start a new chapter of my life. Is that in itself a symptom or a sign that you may be trending to a depressed state as well?
That is a sign. That is a sign as well, denial. Because, sometimes you may hear through the grapevine, okay, the business is restructuring, downsizing, but you're thinking, well, that's not me. That's not going to happen to me. I'm here. I'm good. I'm one of the ones that they're going to keep. So then that's still a part of denial that, like you were speaking about. But also when it happens and you're faced with the situation that, well, what am I going to do tomorrow when I get up? So.
Have you had to deal with anyone taking them through this process during what we have been seeing over the past few months? What was that experience like for you?
For me?
First of all?
Well, I can say it happened to me, where I was made redundant And yes, dealing with clients, it can be a bit difficult because some of them, as you would have mentioned, denial, feeling as though they're discarded, I'm not needed anymore, so that sense of belonging that everyone as a human being likes to belong to something, to someone, to somewhere. So that sense of belonging then comes into play.
As a family member, what are some of the things that we can look out for to identify that that person who has been let go, some of the symptoms that they may be going through as part of that depression, part of that retrenched phase? So
there's withdrawal. So for instance, if you as a family member see that, there's someone in your family who has been retrenched, and you realize that, okay, we're having family socials, family gatherings, and this person is always making excuses as to why they can't attend. Withdrawal is one. So from family, from social events, you're a person that used to go a lot with your friends, and you realize that this person is not coming out anymore. So trying to engage that person, because sometimes that person can feel, well, okay, I don't have any money, so I can't go.
Right.
As opposed to, well, maybe somebody's inviting me and they're gonna pay, for you to still come out and enjoy yourself, just to have a talk, a chat. So withdrawal is one. And then of course there's the negative thoughts. So self-criticizing, I'm not good enough and that's why I was sent home. Or maybe I'm not worthy to hold such a position anymore. And then of course there's the avoidance. So if you know that there is someone or your former work colleagues were going to some event and you decide, okay, I'm not going to that because I don't want to see them. I don't want them to see me like this because, I no longer have a job. I no longer have money. So those kinds of things.
Okay. So what can you do under these circumstances where that person may not even want to seek help because they may be in that denial phase? What is a process? What does the process look like for recovery and getting back to some sense of normalcy?
So first of all is to realize that you are mourning. So losing a job is traumatic. So realize that you are mourning that loss. It's normal. There's no one size fits all for everyone. So realize that, acknowledge the fact that yes, I've lost my job, acknowledge the fact that I am mourning.
This is a part of life.
This is a part of life, yes. You remember we would have spoken about, setting your alarm clock on the morning. So, if you lose your job, the first thing is not for you to, reset your alarm clock. So it may go off the next morning. So, and it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel sad. Okay, yes, I've lost my job, so there's nothing for me to get up and go and do. Whereas there are some people too that may get up and start getting ready for work, unconsciously.
Right.
Because, you're so accustomed getting up when the alarm clock goes off, you set your alarm, you get up and you start to move.
Throw you into a state
yes.
of feeling really, really down.
Yeah, really down. But that is normal too. So acknowledge the fact that yes, my alarm clock has gone off. Yes, it hurts that I don't have anything to go to. But then instead of wallowing in that loss, take the time to reconnect with some of the things that you didn't have a chance to do when you were working.
And so you have to ride the wave of emotion. How do you do that?
So for instance, that just basically means, okay, you may go from the initial shock of being told that, you're being retrenched, going into feeling angry. Because yes, you can be angry at the organization, you can be angry at the employer, you can be angry at yourself. Then, obviously, the denial, then there's sadness. So going through all these different emotions, I find it's like riding a wave. So you'd be up sometimes, down sometimes, up sometimes, and it will keep going like that for a little while.
That is okay?
That is okay, that's normal. But just not sticking in that phase, because at some point you're going to learn to adapt. So you're going to learn to find a new routine. So maybe getting up so early on in the morning, you can exercise or go for a walk. Maybe journal. Journaling is something that is quite therapeutic. You don't have to use the term therapy, but in terms of writing down how you're feeling at any point in time, or writing down next steps as to what you may want to do.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay. Cleansing.
Cleansing
is a part of the process
Cleansing
as well. So you write these emotions, you go through this roller coaster of feelings, and then you want to go through a cleansing process?
So cleansing in terms of what can you do that will make you feel better? So for women, we might like to soak our feet and paint our toes. For men, I'm not sure, maybe you might like to go and watch cars, or you might So anything that you like to do that will make you feel better, boost your self-esteem is what I call the cleansing. It's something that will help boost your self-esteem, make you still feel as though, you know, you're worthy, you belong to something. Yes, I can do something.
Yes, you have gone through a number of these answers to what could be problems associated with retrenchment and job loss. Going to the therapist, should that be seen as a last option or a last resort as you try to recover and get back to normal?
Now, that depends on the individual. So I'm not saying that you have to come to a therapist. You can speak to a friend, you can speak to a family member, but if you find that, you know, they are more biased and not unbiased and you want somebody who's less judgmental, then I would say yes, go to a therapist, because then they can help you work through all of these steps that we would have mentioned and to think about next steps. What can I do next?
Right. I know that you will be able to help them for sure. Brenda Roach is our registered counseling psychologist, taking you through that process if you are trying to get back to normal after losing your job during this wave of retrenchment, or just in general, just trying to get back to that sense of normalcy, a new routine and cleansing. So it's okay, as Dr. Roach, Brenda Roach said, to go through those emotions and ride that wave, but it's all about getting back to normal and continuing, knowing that you can continue your life in the right way. Thank you so much, Brenda, for coming on the show. 6:28 is